Welcome back to Conversations with Asher. And so we're going to just jump back into the conversation here. So I want to bring this subject up here. This was something that has been just eating at me, and anybody who sees my posts on Facebook has seen this from me. And okay, so my daughter is at home one day, and I'll set the scenario for you all, and then you all chime in. I'll tell you what happened with me. I'll tell you what happened in my mind and everything like that. I'll take you on a journey with inside of me, and then you all, it's okay to tell me if I was a bad parent at this moment and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what happened. So my daughter is downstairs, and she is watching cartoons, which is not that's normal. And she turns on this television show, The Bratz. Okay. I am moderately okay with the Bratz from the perspective of fashion, and they are supposed to be high fashion dolls and things of that nature, and my daughter likes them and stuff like that. And so I'm okay with her watching the show. But all of a sudden, I see them break out into a part of the show where they are literally mimicking the Beyonce dancing that Beyonce does with her outfits and everything. And they've got the whole outfit. They have the fishnets on, they've got the really high heels, really short skirt, cleavage showing all over the place, shaking, rolling, belly rolling and everything. And so my wife and I immediately have a get that off our television moment, and don't ever turn that cartoon back on again. And I get frustrated because I'm thinking, first of all, I then go to the Beyonce image, the dancing that she does. And then to further, because I started looking at everything as a big picture, okay? I'm looking at Bratz, totally inappropriate, because first of all, I feel like you're marketing to my 9-year-old daughter, first of all, and you're marketing that this is acceptable wear, this is acceptable look, this is acceptable behavior, and none of that is acceptable to me for a 9-year-old little girl who is still learning about who she is and learning her identity. And of course, mother and father teach her who she is, but there are other areas that she learns what society thinks of her. Okay, and so then my mind starts to go to Beyonce, and I'm thinking, Beyonce, you know that a lot of your fan base are young little girls who are still finding themselves. And I'm fine with you running the world. Girls run the world. I'm fine with that. I'm okay. More power. But do you have to run it in such short skirts? Do you have to run it in such a provocative way? How are you telling me that you're about girl power when everything that you're saying is about selling my body? So telling people that this is all I'm worth is my body. Okay? Chime in on that.
You know, it's an interesting thing that you bring that up, because I often kind of battle with the images that are in front of our children also. Unfortunately, it is a fact of life that as parents, and I've got children myself,
right,
we're not always going to be able to shield them from those forces that are out there waiting. But I think that what you do as a parent is the most important thing when you come across a situation like that. That's a teachable moment for a parent, because it's not always what they're going to be exposed to, but it's going to be how we then take that experience and direct them and guide them in the correct way, or a more appropriate way to utilize that information. So it's our place at that point to take that information they've gotten and steer it in the right direction.
Love that answer. You say what about that?
I say yes, there's so many I use the word crazy because I see so many wild and crazy things on the high school level, and I see so many images that they want to have in their phones and on their iPods, and that they talk about in the classroom. But on one hand, we have to monitor what they watch and what they see, but at the same time, we can't shield them so much that they want to sneak and go behind our back.
That's good.
And
That's
find
good.
out what the world is doing. In fact, they need to know a little bit about what the world is doing, because they do have to work in this world, and they will be with most of the world most of the day.
So you talking? You already cut and cross something right now, because that's back in the day when we were growing up in church, and our parents said, "Oh, you can't watch this, you can't do that, you can't go to the movies, you can't. Oh, you can't do this and you can't do that. What can I do? Can I breathe?"
Right. So if you want them not to sneak behind your back and figure it out, then some of these things you're going to have to sit down with them. And let's say, well, let's watch this. And let's talk about why this is inappropriate and what's appropriate about it, and how could you do differently. And if you like this show, let's talk about the good parts of the show and how you would make this show better. What would you do if you were on the show? What would be appropriate?
You just stop playing with me, Bonnie. You're playing with me right now. This is excellent. This is fantastic, because you can't be. I'm about to go home and restructure my whole parenting format. You know what, you all? We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Conversations with Asher, and we're just jumping back into the conversation here. We've been talking today about social effects on child and youth development, and it's been really eye-opening, because for me as a parent, I have a hard time dealing with some of the images that we see on a day-to-day basis that our children are bombarded with, that I understand, that begin to shape how they see themselves, and then it begins to shape how they respond. And my big thing is, though we see all of these issues, quote unquote, what do we do to fix it? And so Dr. Johnson and Dr. Waring, they've been giving us great, sage, practical, pragmatic, applicable advice in order to be better parents, be better role models, be better mentors, be better at our jobs when we see different individuals or see different situations. Because though you may not have a child, you may know somebody who has a child, and you may hear them talking about certain things, and you can say, you know what, I was at this TV show, and I heard this youth professional say this, and this, and it can be the difference in another child's life, or it can make all the difference in another parenting teachable moment, as you just said. And I love that phrase, teachable moments, because we have so many teachable moments on a given day. So we were talking about the whole situation where my daughter sees Bratz, okay? And then there is the whole Beyonce thing. And we can just we can go and list off a number of different media or entertainers that our children are exposed to. But at the end of the day, we have to always come back to home. And that's what I'm hearing, even though it takes a village to raise a community. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to raise that child. It's what the parents are teaching in the home. If we're not getting that information at the home level, let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the things that, from the parent standpoint, what could we do as parents to better maybe open ourselves up to understand that the educators aren't here to tear your child down. They're here because they want to see your child be the best they can. So I'm not calling you up to tell you little Johnny or little Susie May is this horrible child because I don't like your child. It is in my best interest, even if I didn't care about your child. Let's say hypothetically I don't even care about your child. Let's say about this is what you all are saying to the parents. Even if I don't care about your child, it is in my best interest for your child to pass my class, because it would be a bad look on me as an instructor for all of my students to be failing my class. That's not a good look. So even if it had nothing to do with the child and the teacher was just being selfish altogether, it still looks good for the teacher to have students who are thriving. So when a teacher has to call a parent and say, I'm not having a child that's thriving, what would you say? What are we trying to let that parent know? We want your child to thrive, and we need your help in order for that to happen. What do you all say about that?
Well, the first thing I say to the student, and I would like to emphasize to the parents, and maybe we can share them in our community meetings and our subdivision meetings, is that none of us went to college for 4 years and 6 years and 8 years because we don't like kids. We went to school to educate kids because we want to see kids thrive. That's the first thing I say to my students. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't have gone to college to be an educator. That would be backwards. Mm-hmm. So therefore, let's start right now and say we're in this together. We're on the same level. When I call you, we're on the same ground. Mm-hmm. We're on the same level. We want the same thing. So let's start from there. I want your child to win. Therefore, what are we gonna do about it? Not what am I gonna do about it, because somehow the system now believes that it is all about the educator. Mm-hmm, and I do not think I can make your child do anything. They've taken all the rules for opportunities from me to make your child do anything. So really, you and your child have the opportunity to do whatever you want to do with this education, and I'm going to be a player in this as well. Mm-hmm. So let's all get together and figure out what is best for your child, and why is your child not happy or not performing great in this class, mm-hmm. or in this situation. So we can figure this out together.
That's excellent.
Good, that's good. And we were talking about a lot of this when we were waiting for the show to begin. For those of you that may have heard the term standards-based education or standards-based classroom, the role of the instructor in the classroom is that of facilitator of education. And hopefully there's a level of expertise that's being held by that teacher that ought to be respected.
Yes.
in many ways. And I think we lose a lot of that when parents are coming at you and not realizing that we do have a role to facilitate your child's education, to even facilitate how you can help us all bring your child to their optimal potential, if you were. And I think that when you get that level of respect going on, that level of communication going on, then you do have the team that's helping. Now, if there are situations where parents need a little bit more guidance on how to handle certain situations, then it's up to the school to provide that professional learning, if you would, for parents to help them know how to help their children even more.
That's fantastic. And we're going to take another commercial break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to maybe get some insight from some questions from the studio audience as to some of the things that they can do maybe in their rearing of children, or maybe some questions that they have here on Conversations with Asher.